Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It's a regular board meeting of the Lammersville Unified School District Board of Education for March 4th, 2015. At this time, will you please silence your cell phones and rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call.
Matthew Balzerini.
Here.
Colin Clements.
Here.
Sharon Lampel.
Here.
Shane Nielsen.
Here.
David Pombo.
Here.
Pasa Pungchai.
Absent.
Approval and or corrections of the agenda?
There are none.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Receiving a public comment. If anyone has anything that's not currently on the agenda. Moving on. Consent items for consideration. There's the approval of the board meeting minutes from February 18th and 3 resignations.
I'll move for approval of the consent items as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. District Administrative Reports, Superintendent's Report.
Well, we have three reports tonight. First is a follow-up from a request from the board of last meeting with Julie Corona, follow-up on SPED Education Improvement Plan and the data that went with the last meeting.
Good evening, Governing Board, Mr. President, and Dr. Nicholas. So the purpose of my presentation this evening is to give you an update of the Special Education Improvement Plan, as well as give you information on MAP scores on students in special education programs. So the Special Education Improvement Plan focuses on 6 areas. One of the areas is the high number of student suspensions, students with disabilities. Another area that was identified as an area of concern is inconsistent RTI and lack of impactful interventions. Another area, high number of NPA, non-public agency contracts. And another area was a high number of one-on-one aid support. And then the last area is lack of collaboration between special education teachers and general education teachers. So on this first slide, as you can see, 2013-2014 is red, and we have shown a significant drop in special education referrals. There is some data that is missing from last school year. It was started last school year. There was not a specific tracking system as far as referrals. However, some of the referrals that were coming from different school sites, as you can see on this slide, that I was able to track from last year to compare to this year, there shows a significant decrease on special education referrals.
What part of the system that you've implemented would you think that those decreases are a result of?
It's the collection of data. We have trained all school sites and individual teachers when they request that training. As a matter of fact, just last week, I sat down with first grade staff members at Wickland, and it's the collection of data that they have to have the baseline and have the interventions documented and then the outcome. So we have shown a significant drop in referrals.
Thank you.
There is one area here that was not last year that has increased, and that is parent request to evaluate. So as you know, by law, we do have to provide respond to those parents. The high number of non-public agency contracts, here it shows a decrease. If you pay close attention to, I am pointing to 6 NPA services ended. In that area, I know that 2014, 2015 is yellow and it's bigger than the purple, but that means that we have ended non-public agency contracts. And what happens is we fade the support. The services are replaced by school resources, behavior specialists, the school psychologist, the special education staff. So we were able to end those services. Same thing with the non-public agency one-on-one aid. We have also seen a decrease on that. The high number of one-on-one aid support was also identified as an area of concern, and we are currently targeting with the behavior specialist, then the special education staff, as well as the school psychologist. We have seen, and oops, I'm sorry. We do see an area here where it shows a significant drop in the aid support. And what happens is that where you see the reduction of one-on-one aid services, what that means is currently we have 3 students, and from 100% of one-on-one aid support, one went to a 61%, one went to a 33%, and the other one is at 50%. So we slowly fade the one-on-one aid support until the student is successful in the classroom without the need of the one-on-one aid. So we are to a good start, and with all the services in place, we will be able to end a lot of these one-on-one aid support and utilize the support somewhere else. Yes. Oh. Okay, and lack of collaboration between general education teachers and special education teachers. We have been working closely with general education teachers. All special education teachers have been collaborating since January, and these are the areas on Focus Friday that they have been collaborating with. If they go by grade level, and at each school site, sometimes I do provide district training, but 2 Fridays out of the month, they have stayed with school sites.
That's our pet seal.
It was a dog at first.
So during last board meeting, Dr. Nicholas presented information regarding MAP scores on all students attending Lammersville Unified School District. My information here is based only on special education students, and as you see here, first grade reading MAP scores for special education students at each school site has shown growth. Lammersville does not have students in special education in the first grade level, at the first grade level. For 4th grade, they have shown growth the same way from fall to winter. And this particular slide is the same slide that Dr. Nicholas showed last time during our last board meeting, where it indicated that special education students district-wide had not made growth in 8th grade math. So we were able to identify the problem to that lack of growth for that particular area. On this particular slide, even though it shows that every school site, 8th grade students in special education programs did make growth, there is an anomaly. And the only explanation to this anomaly is that in the fall, there were 26 students that took MAP testing. And in the winter, it went down to 18 students. So that is the only explanation as of right now that we have as far as the drop in scores from fall to winter. Because if you look at every school site, with the exception of Lammersville, every school site made progress. But there were less students that tested in the winter compared to the fall. We will continue to look closely and monitor to identify any possible areas that need to be looked at. Any questions?
Mine's not a question so much as a comment. We talk a lot about moving kids out, about reducing one-on-one aids. The focus is not that. The focus is getting these kids back into regular classrooms. And what those numbers point to is the success of the program has had over the last year or two. It's not just to look to end one-on-one aids or look to reduce special ed numbers. It's to look to get these kids back into the regular classrooms. That's the goal. And what these numbers are telling us is, in a lot of ways, we're getting close to meeting the goal that we want. We're not there, clearly, but we're making progress, and that's the point. And I just hope people aren't listening and hearing, oh, they're just trying to get rid of numbers. That's not the plan. That's not the point. That's not the goal. This is the goal. Improve numbers, improve scores like you saw across the board. And I wanted to thank you for the work that you put in on this.
Thank you for pointing that out, Mr. Nielsen. I wanted to say that the systems that you've implemented in the district are obviously correcting waste, having aides where aides are not needed because we want students to be as independent as possible, and addressing the needs of the students. So, and the data shows that their needs are being met. So nice job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, I also want to commend you. You came to us a few months ago with your plan, and you've stuck to the plan, and you're showing us that it's working. So good work.
Thank you.
I did have one question that I would like to echo. Thank you very much. This is clearly very important. And it's probably just, I'm the new board member, so I don't know. One of the bullet points in the opening screen was over-identification. And there may have been, we may have addressed it, but I think I lost track of what we said as it relates to over-identification.
Yes, and that is the RTI, the response to intervention, that goes hand in hand with over-identification because we have significantly decreased those referrals for special education. That means that we are not over-identifying students with disabilities.
Okay, thank you.
So I want to make sure that if there's another part to that. Over-identification means that before going through a set of steps to make sure that the mainstream classroom attempts to respond to a student's specific needs, that before you jump to a special education testing process, that you try to mitigate the problems within the classroom. And Julie's improvement plan has addressed that head on, which is if a child's struggling with their learning, that doesn't make them special ed. That means we need to take a look at what we're doing and try something different. So the past practice was to maybe jump a little too quickly to that. And so that's part of what the improvement plan from the direction of the board was last year.
Understood, thank you.
And I'm also, with that, I'm very interested to see how some of the concepts that we're using in the high school with the smaller group learning, the clusters, if you will, in the classrooms, I'm interested to see how that works with special education students, if they respond better to that. So that'll be interesting to see.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have two principals here with some of their team with them. We asked, this was asked last year, that the principals come forward and address the instructional plan based on their analysis of their MAP data and tie a little bit of that to their foundation, the work and the fundraising they're doing. So we have two presentations here tonight from Mountain House High School first and Lammersville Elementary second.
We're just waiting for the website. Yes. No. MHHS.lammersvilleusd.net. HHS.lammersvilleusd.
It's like air conditioner unit, maybe.
Sorry, technical difficulties.
You break the mouse?
Maybe. Is it plugged in?
It's because I'm in the room.
Probably. Do we want to plug in my? Yeah, it's not loading. Push enter.
This is actually a clever ploy. He's going to ask for money for technology for the high school.
It's a technology school. Okay, can we plug in my? Sorry.
Mr. President, I don't know if you, the board had a chance to look, but there's a special display here in our boardroom while we're waiting for the technology to work that some folks are kind of proud of. Dr. Gill, do you want to explain what that display is?
So as I mentioned in the last board meeting, that we want to make the Lammersville, even though we are the best, but we are going to make it ourselves the bestest, even though that's not a word, but I'm going to create a new vocabulary word, right? So we are taking our district on the show, on the road, everywhere, throughout the state. And what I felt really bad last time was when Mrs. Lampel's school district was right next to mine. And I had a little tablecloth that said Lammersville Unified, and people had huge things. I said, I'm not going anywhere without this. And so now we're going to get 2 of them because first I was being frugal and told the ladies only 1.
And I only had 1, so you had to have 2.
And yes, need to have 2. But then we found out we saved tons of money. So whenever we go to a job fair, we're going to make ourselves known from far away. So this is what that is for. And our schools, the other one, we will represent other schools.
Matches the 2 towers of the entrance of the high school.
That's it.
Very
Yes.
nice. Yeah.
We just need to get the horse statue up between.
Yeah.
We're collecting pennies right now. It's okay.
That's beautiful.
Something just happened.
Looks like what? Where's that?
There we go. It's on. It's on.
Okay, we're there.
They kind of
Ladies and
stretch the
gentlemen,
screen.
Ben Faubert.
Okay. Mountain House High School is, I'm going to start off by saying we're very data poor. So Dr. Nicholas talked about how we're going to be using map data and all that kind of stuff. We don't have any map data. We don't have very much data at all. So what we did is we took this opportunity to present our school to beef up our website. And instead of doing a presentation, we created a whole new section of our website that explains all of the initiatives that we're doing. And so this was going to be an interactive experience. Unfortunately, your computers at the dais don't work. When you click the PC button, it should work, but it doesn't. But when you go home, or if you have your own device here, you can follow along on your own computer by going to the Mountain House High School website, mhhs.lammersvilleusd.net, and click on the About Us page. On this page, you'll see down the left-hand side, everything below Campus Map is all of the new sections that we have that we've prepared to explain to people what we're doing, and it has a wealth of information and links to other sites that will help explain what's going on at Mountain House High School this year and what we anticipate doing. So we're going to walk you briefly through these pages. I'm not going to go too in depth because the idea is that you will go and investigate this on your own. It's kind of a flipped learning experience. So the first page that we have is all about the initiatives that we've implemented this school year. And when we did this page, we realized, wow, there's a lot of new things that we did this year. So each box talks about one of the new things that we did. First is Internet for All. We wanted to make sure that students at Mountain House High School who have access to computers and internet at school also have access at home. So we hooked up with a federal program called Everyone On that has options for low-income families to either get free or reduced internet. And it's connected to free or reduced lunches. Those who receive free or reduced lunch can receive free or reduced internet and free or reduced actual computers at home as well. One of our teachers also spearheaded the ability or a project to provide a tech training website for all of our students. If you click here, and I won't do it because I can't see a back button on here for some reason, but Tech training for students, and clicking here will bring you to that website, and it basically helps our students get themselves ready to use the Google applications that we have here at school, and if they complete it, they can become a Mountain House High School Google Apps Wrangler and get this little badge to put on their own Google account. So the other thing obviously that we did was we have a one-to-one Chromebook and bring your own device environment at the school. We have lots of links to information about our Chromebook initiative, videos that explain what we're doing and how it links to other schools that may be doing the same thing in our nation. And we also have a bring your own device environment. We have a link here to our bring your own device requirements, and we do have quite a few number of kids, especially after Christmas, that showed up with their own devices as opposed to that rinky-dink Chromebook that the school gave me. Blended and flipped learning environment. We have our links to our blendedschools.net, which provides both links to the content that the district has approved and also to our learning management system, which hosts all of the content for the students. They log in individually on that. And then some videos about blended and flipped learning. Additionally, about our actual Canvas learning management system, what it does and how it works. Project Lead the Way, which is our STEM education initiative that also got trickled down to the middle schools, and it includes this year our biomedical science and engineering program, and next year will include computer science as a pathway as well, because they released the computer science curriculum this year, and there are links to those websites as well. Common Core, we had the opportunity to open our school as a Common Core, fully Common Core integrated school. All of our A to G course outlines that we're developing will be completely Common Core aligned. And there is a link to the Common Core website and some information about what that is and how it impacts the instruction at our school. Our early and middle college program that we're developing with Delta College is something that we're really excited about, and the information here will tell you we're in the early stages of that, but we already do have students taking classes over at Delta College, some that will actually count for both college and high school credit, and the idea is that once we have our fully developed middle college program, that students will be able to graduate from high school with both a high school diploma and an associate's degree, which is really neat. And the final thing on this page is mastery-based learning. We talk a lot about at our school, making sure that students are not just completing assignments and teachers are adding up scores, but they're actually mastering content. And when they don't master the content, we don't just fail them. We say, keep going and try again until you master it. It's more of a concept-based kind of way of learning, and we don't leave kids behind. So that is a little bit about some of the new initiative, most of the initiatives that we've implemented this year. And Kevin's going to talk a little bit about units of study and assessment.
Good evening. As Mr. Faubert mentioned, we've been working on our units of study for A to G course alignment. And so we added this information section on our website. It has links to the UC Doorways site so that parents can gather the information they need as well. And our teachers are finalizing their outlines to submit. We had the opportunity as a new school to begin by implementing rigorous curriculum design into our planning processes. So we've done that from the beginning. And we've linked to some information about how that works as well. So our teachers have designed their units from the very beginning using this process, and they've actually used another tool that was provided by our learning management system, content provider, Blended Schools, called Atlas Curriculum Mapping. And so they've actually uploaded their units of study into that system, into Atlas. And it gives the teachers an opportunity to search standards from around the country and, develop some really powerful matrices that help them with their instruction. As Mr. Faubert mentioned as well, We're data poor, but we have, obviously the plan to bring forward assessments for students. We have given MAP to Math 1 students and to EL students, but very little data from that. We also have plans to test all of our students using the CASP assessments, the interim CASP assessments this year. We'll be doing that later in the spring. And we're currently preparing to give our sophomores the California High School exit exam. And that'll be the 17th and 18th of March. And the fitnessgram, of course, later on this spring as well. So we will have access to data shortly, and we will no longer be data poor coming up here. Mr. Faubert will continue and talk about the parent organizations.
We're kind of whipping through this, but the idea is we hope that you're seeing that we've already placed this information on our webpage, and if board members, community members, other educators are looking for information about Mountain House High School, it's readily available to them, and we have a place to send them to. So an important part of our school environment are our parent clubs and groups. The first is we had Lammersville Unified School District's first PTSA as opposed to a parent-teacher organization. And it's been successful this year. They organized before the school year started, and it is part of PTA, which is a nationwide organization that advocates for children. And their important work goes into not just fundraising, but also advocating for students and advocating for programs at the school. For example, this year they participated in Reflections, which is an art contest, and it's a national art contest where students submitted artwork, and they sent those to the regional competition as well, and that was very successful. They also did a fun run at our school and provided some funds for us. They do have a website, and their link is here, and we do have a link to their most recent financial information, and we intend on updating this each time there's a new financial update, so you can visit that as well. We have a Thriving Athletic Booster Program. It's affiliated with a school district and was formed mainly to support the extracurricular athletic programs at school. We do have a link to their website as well and to their financial information. They are essential to the functioning of our athletic program. One of our board members is actively involved in that, and we appreciate that. And they have raised quite a bit of money to date to assist athletics and have purchased some equipment and
Not as much as we would have liked.
Not as much as you would have liked, but they have raised a significant amount of money with concessions and spiritware and other donations, helping to, they help us do advertising on our campus and sell advertisements that bring in some money for our athletic programs. We also have a Visual and Performing Arts Boosters program that is new and making money as well. Visual and performing arts tend to cost a lot of money. The athletic director and the Visual and Performing Arts Department chairperson today were talking about how much their uniforms cost. And the athletics director was surprised to hear how much more band uniforms cost than football uniforms. Quite a bit more. So they're essential to the running of that, and one of the things that's coming up that you'll see in an update very soon is a couple of weeks from now, 24 high schools from all over the state and out of state are coming to our campus. We are hosting a winter percussion competition at our school, so we're starting to put ourselves on the map as a really great location. We are the gateway to the Bay and the Valley. So there are quite a few other things that I hope to bring to your attention over the next month or two where we are being used as the middle and gathering folks from all over, both musically, professional development-wise with teachers and administrators, and athletically as well. We also have a Thriving School Site Council, elected members of our community, both teachers and parents, administrators, and classified staff to talk about goals and objectives of our campus for climate, safety, instruction. They inform us and give us input about our school WASC accreditation, which is very important to us now that we are in the initial stages of that accreditation. We have that initial accreditation and are working towards a clear accreditation in the next couple of years. So we're excited about our parent groups, and we hope to kind of add a few more as we go forward, but they're very important to us. Going quickly through the strategic plan, we are very closely aligned with our district strategic plan through our WASC accreditation plan, and through our school site council. We work very closely with this plan, and there's links to information on our district website about that, and the graphic that exists on our website. I alluded to our WASC accreditation, and we do have that initial accreditation candidacy status, and we've linked actually the report from the WASC that we created, the official candidacy letter, and more information about what the Western Association of Schools and Colleges is and why we need their approval. Along with that, now that we have accreditation, we've sent in our paperwork to establish our AIDE. We're in the red tape right now, waiting. We're waiting the 3 to 5 weeks that it takes to process our paperwork. And as soon as we do that, our teachers are ready to submit those courses in anticipation of getting them approved for the end of the school year, so that before we go into the next school year, we're ready. And there's some information about the process itself, and a link to the UC Doorways website, which is where AIDE approval goes through. And then the last thing, we talked about our enriched bell schedule in a previous board meeting, moving from a 6-period day to an 8-period day that includes an intervention period to support students. We are fortunate to be nimble enough to do that and to provide not just intervention for students, but a daily collaboration period for teachers alongside their preparation period as well, in order to provide an environment for teachers to be developed professionally in the technological environment that we're instituting at the school. So the last area before we invite our who you really want to hear.
Right. So I'm going to flip this part of the presentation, which means I'm starting at the bottom and working my way up. We've had some great things happen in terms of our school culture and climate. We have over 20 clubs established now and counting. Students are forming their own clubs and organizations. They're doing activities. They're raising funds and doing volunteer work as well. That's been very exciting to see. Coming up in April, we'll be having our first challenge day, which is an anti-bullying program. We've begun the process for recruiting students. We have teachers who have volunteered to attend that. Very excited about that. Our athletics program has, I think, surprised, well, in the words of Ali, shocked the world, right? We've really surprised a lot of folks out there. We've had very successful teams and very successful experiences. Our coaches are dedicated to teaching people, teaching athletes to be people, good people. So we're proud of that. And then I'll leave off with the body that really oversees the kind of the whole school culture and government, and that's our Associated Student Body. And I'd like to end with them. They've been doing wonderful things. I'm just going to go ahead and introduce our ASB advisor and 2 of our ASB leaders. So I'd like to have Mrs. Lynch come forward, and Justin Bustos and Danielle Estrelado.
So I'm going to hand it over to the kids pretty quick once they get the presentation up. I'm Alex Lynch. I'm the advisor for ASB. And we've been having a lot of fun this year planning all the events that are going to become part of our school culture. So our president of ASB, Justin, and our vice president, Danielle, are going to take it from here.
Before you start, can I ask an annoying question? Where do I get one of those? Sweaters. That sweater is really neat looking. I love that logo.
Yes, I do too.
This is the only ASB I'm mad.
That's not the right answer, by the way. Only ASB is probably not the right.
They actually designed it themselves.
Very nicely done.
Yeah, I guess next year you can come up to us and get a form.
I might be able to get you one.
Next year, board.
I even gave him a hint and said that wasn't the right.
I mean, you can even get it. You can even get it customized. You can even get it customized with your name on the arm sleeve and everything. All right, let's go.
So leadership plays a huge part in the school, and its responsibilities range from organizing dances, rallies, spirit days, and community service projects to representing the students of MHHS at large and ensuring that decisions made by the staff or administration are in their best interests. Our leadership program helps to cultivate students who are responsible, resourceful, and perhaps most important, self-motivated. We also motivate our students to help others with a charity project for class.
So to kick off the year, we had a homecoming week. We had a dance, we had a rally, we had a spirit week, and LTAs, which stands for lunchtime activities. The dance went well. The rally was great. The spirit weeks, we had designated days where kids would dress up what the day was, I guess. And so, for example, there was a sports day where people would dress up in their favorite jersey or like just workout clothing. And there was a dapper day where people dressed super fancy for just school. And for lunchtime games, we really just pick kids from the cafeteria that want to play the game, and they go up to the stage and play while everyone's eating and watching, and it's a good time. We had our club fair, which basically we got all the clubs together, and we put them in one spot and gave them each their little. We gave them booths to present their club and what their club was about, and they all had posters and, like, for example, API, the Asian Pacific Islander Club, they played Asian Pacific Islander music to get the kids' attention that were interested. And yeah, just recently we had our winter formal. Our winter formal was absolutely amazing. We had a great turnout. There was nobody that came up to me with negative comments. They were all positive. And in the future, we're going to have a Sadie's Hawkins dance. And yes, it's in May. It's not official yet, but we're planning to call it MORP, where it's the exact opposite of prom, since we're not going to have prom this year, where the girls ask the guys, and it's not a formal dance, and yeah, it'll just be great. And leadership training days. There was one for just the high school itself, and there was also one for the middle school. So we had the California Association of Student Leadership, otherwise known as CASTLE. They came over and helped us learn what a great leader does to impact his or her school. And for our middle school one, we had a bunch of middle schools from the Lambertville School District. There's some middle schools from Tracy, like Delta Charter, and there was even a middle school called American, I think. And there was just a bunch of schools we didn't even expect coming, and they loved it. All the middle schoolers loved their little. They were called camp leaders, and we're preparing them for when they come to our school, so we can have a better leadership in the future. And it's not listed up there, but we're planning a dodgeball tournament, which will be pretty fun.
So clubs that are offered in MHHS include HOSA, DECA, Music, Interact, Photography, National Honor Society, California Scholarship Federation, and there's a lot more. HOSA focuses mainly on health and occupation science, and DECA focuses on business. Both of them are competitive clubs that travel in the San Joaquin area and outside to compete in state competitions. HOSA actually recently had one, and we had about 3 people come in first through third place. California Scholarship Federation, that really helps with college, and it helps students prepare for their future and get the money that they need. Interact also, it's a community service club that is working on improving our community as well as communities around us with random acts of kindness and community service.
So fundraisers. So first we had our Valentine's Gram sales, which we really earned a lot of money based off how much the roses were, and they came with little cards. They're about $2 each, and I think we made $200. Yeah, and then ASB card sales in the beginning of the year. We sold them before the school year even started, and basically what they are is like you buy one, and I'm not sure if all the funds go to ASB, but you basically get into all the sports games for free. You get discounted tickets for the dances, and yeah, you got a shirt. There was also T-shirt sales for the class officers, or the class officers organized it, and then our dance ticket sales. We made a lot of money on that. There was about half our student population came for winter formal, and I think we made about $4,000. The PTSA Fun Run, they came to us and offered to help us out, and basically people ran laps around the track during PE, and for however many laps they did, they got pledges, so you multiply the laps by a number of money they gave. And we had a canned food drive for Thanksgiving, and we donated it to a local place at Tracy. Yes, and then there was we're having a cookie dough sale soon, so if you guys ever want cookie dough, just you know where to come. And there's many, many more. Oh, like restaurant nights. We're planning to go to local businesses to basically donate not half, but like a certain percentage of money when we advertise for Mountain House to go and eat there.
So some events coming next year is the Link Crew, where we'll introduce the freshmen and have them be assembled with the upperclassmen and the school. So we're gonna like give them a tour of the school and interact with them. And then there's also prom and graduation, which can't wait because but prom, I don't know where we're gonna have that, but we can't wait to plan it. We'll plan it sometime. Powder puff and many more. I have no idea how to expand on that. We're working on it.
All right, and to include on the Link Crew, I think we're planning on having the seniors come too, because it's their very first year. So we're gonna mix the freshmen and the seniors, so and they can get to know the school better. Next, please. All right, leadership loves volunteers. We were fortunate to have all the parents and teachers come out for dances, and our homecoming week they helped build floats, and it really helped establish the culture of MHHS. So if you're ever available to decorate or assist in building floats or anything else, please let us know. Go Mustangs.
We also like donations of money.
Yeah, that works too.
If you really want to make some money, just jack up the price on that sweatshirt. Trustee Nielsen will buy it.
I'm there.
More money out of me.
I like it too.
Thank you.
I will.
Any questions? Sorry.
I will formally volunteer, put myself out, Mr. Faubert, for debate and/or mock trial for next year. I'll be contacting the folks at a certain school we know in the Valley or the East Bay there that does a pretty good job of it, and an attorney in my office worked with him on that project. So I'm going to put myself out there. We will be setting up one way or another a mock trial and debate team next year.
Nice.
So you guys seem like you're really enjoying the extracurricular activities at Mountain House High School.
Yeah, it's great. It's really great.
So make sure the board knows about your fundraisers and restaurant nights and stuff like that. I mean, if you guys let the district office know, Dr. Nicholas communicates with us every week, so we'll get that, because I often run into board members when the schools are having restaurant nights.
Oh, okay, cool. We'll make sure to contact you guys.
Thank you guys very much for your leadership. It's couldn't do without you, so thank you guys very much.
Thank you very much. Great job.
Thank you.
Do you guys have any questions questions or anything.
Just, we want to thank you as well. We appreciate you
Yes.
taking the,
You did a pretty good job. That's awesome.
very
You did
good.
cover most of
But pat yourself on the back. Leadership is, it's a lot of work for the teacher.
it. Thank you.
I'd also like to say something to the school administration about the website. You know, all schools have websites these days, but what you've created here goes far beyond the required information that a lot of schools have. You've developed a venue for parents to inquire and really know what's going on at the school. The Mountain House High School website isn't only useful, but it's rather impressive. So thank you for your work on that.
I agree. Thank you very much.
I had a question for Principal Faubert. You mentioned a percussion competition. Do you have a time and date on that?
That'll come out in our this Friday's Friday update. It was not. It'll be 2 weeks away now, so you'll get it in the next Friday update. It's all day long. Yeah, so I think it starts at 9 o'clock in the morning and will go all the way into the evening. So if you come anytime during the day, you'll be able to see some group performing. And it's really impressive. I don't know if you know what a winter percussion thing looks like, but they actually, within a matter of minutes, cover the entire gym floor with a tarp that they've painted that goes along with, it's like marching band indoors, only it's just percussion. So it's really cool if anybody's interested.
So when it gets closer to the date, will you have an idea around what time of day the Mountain House High School students will be performing?
Because there's an organization that helps with the coordination of all that.
If you could pass that on, that would be great.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Dr. Nicholas and Board of Trustees. I'm here to talk about Lammersville Elementary, one of the best schools around. It's little, but it's mighty, and we really like and enjoy being there. It's got a lot of history, a lot of people. It's been my pleasure to work there. One of the things that we live and breathe is what we call SWAG, and it's securing the way to academic growth. And you'll hear the teachers talk about it. You'll hear even the parents talk about it. The students will be talking about it. This is a systematic way that we've developed together of how to look at students, their data, and how to help them grow. We start where they are, and then we go from there, and we help them grow to the next level with their instruction. Oh, and I had this really cool, funky things with the words, but too bad. Anyway, so here's a foundation of SWAG, basically is the data. We always start with the data. We look at MAP data. You can see here our kindergarten through 8th grade data. You have the yellow, which is our fall score. The aqua bluish is our winter score. And then the end of the year goal is the purple. So we're doing quite well. As you can see, there is growth. There's a grade level or two that we're taking a look at because it's not quite the growth we want to see, or it kind of went down a little bit. But you can see that we're doing well when it comes to growth in our students. That was the reading data. This is the math data. Again, yellow's fall, aqua's winter, and the purple is end of the year goal. I think most everyone grew in math, yes. Okay, and then our focus areas, our first grade reading. You can see our focus areas are Hispanic, white, EL, and low income. The end of the year goal for first grade reading is 177, and you can see our Hispanics grew, white grew, EL grew, and so did our low income in reading, first grade. Fourth grade reading, again, same subgroups, and end of the year goal is 202. And again, Hispanic went up, white went up, EL went up, and low income went up. Our 8th grade math, again, same subgroups, end of the year goal is 239. Hispanic went up, white went up, EL went up, and so did low income. How do we make this happen? Well, I mentioned our securing the way to academic growth, or SWAG. We call it SWAG. And we have the system that is in place, and we started this last year, and it just keeps getting better. We just keep perfecting it every year, and every time we meet 2 times a year. And I'll just put this on here. It kind of just describes it, and I'll talk about it too. We meet 2 times a year. We meet after the fall data map test, and then we also meet after the winter map test. And we actually come into groups. I've grouped them, since we only have 1 teacher per grade level, I group them into 2 grade levels. So there's a K1 group, a 2-3 group, a 4-5 group, and then a 6-8 group. Okay, there's 3 in that one, 6th, 7th, and 8th. And then we talk about our students. We look at where they are with their data. And we look at, in MAP, there's a learning continuum. So we start with each student. We dig deeper in the learning continuum, and we decide what exact focus we're going to have for each student. This is a sheet that we do together. We started this at the beginning of this year. It's a Google Doc. And I took the student names out. So over there, you can see it all squished up. The student, it's hard to read. Student names over there at the far left. And then the grade level. And then it shows their fall score and their winter score. The winter scores, the green means that they grew, and the red means that they fell with their scores. So we actually go through, and I have the teachers they have all their student names in there. They put the scores in themselves, and then we actually will put this on the board, and we talk about each student together and what we're going to do for those students. We have an overall reading focus, so that's just an overall focus, and then we get to a specific skills that they need to work on. And then the plan is usually the curriculum or the tools that they're going to be looking at. So on this, the first one there, you see the phonetic skills and then compass learning. Compass learning is always a part of our swag in some way, shape, or form. Maybe not every day, but every other day. We currently have almost a 1-to-1 ratio with our Chromebooks. We need to purchase about 20 more to hit 1-to-1. Other than that, we're pretty good in that area. We also look at our units of study data. This is another Google Doc that we've created, and it has this is 6th grade. It has the unit number and the unit focus, and then it has their pre and post tests. And we can kind of see, this is going to be more of a general overall picture of data. It's not quite it isn't as specific as the MAP data, but we look at it just to see kind of where we are. And then if we see some deficiencies, we take a look at that and say, okay, what can we do here? What do you need from me? What do we need from each other to help us in these areas if we see there's some deficiencies?
Renee, could you go back for just a second?
I am, yes.
So the percentages on the bottom are the children that have mastered it?
They are the whole class. So 37 of them, yes, you're right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So the pre-test was 37%, the average, and then the post-test was 83% average. These were with the units of study. Encompass Learning. This is a document I've also created. I like to put them on Google Docs because I give everybody a link. We look at them, they look at them. Occasionally I'll throw out a little survey to the staff and ask them what they think and how things are going for them. And they'll shoot that back to me. But this kind of just tells the first column is the utilization. That's students that are on task or on Compass Learning actually doing something 30 plus minutes, and it has a percentage of kids. This always changes every week because we do a new report. I do a new report every week and take a look at it. And then their average scores. So this is looking at of the activities that they did, what is the average score for ELA and math, and all subjects too. So again, just another way to look at the data, different type of data. One of the other things that we do that we really feel is important is we meet with every single student. I have staff members, if not teachers do it as well. And then I also have aides that do it. I have them come in my office. I kind of train them on what to ask the students, what to look for. It's not that difficult. And some of them, this is their second year doing it, so they're quite the pros too. So after each map testing, the teachers go through the data first, and then we take each student individually. It takes about 2, maybe 3, 4, well, we're small, about 3 to 4 days to get through every student. We have about 8 students, 6 to 8 students, depending on the availability of the staff in the room, in my office, per cycle. So there'll be 6 students in there. They're all talking with an adult, and they're all going over their goals and their scores for MAP. And this is something that we use for the students just to kind of keep them on track and kind of help them focus as we're talking to them or as they're talking to us too. They write down their goal, and they also tell us how they're going to show that they've accomplished the goal. These are posted in the classrooms. Last year we did a really big target, and we put it real big in the multi-purpose room, but it was very time consuming. And so we decided that each class is going to do their own thing with the arrows, and then the kids can see them every day, and they can actually move them around in their classrooms, because once they were on the wall up there, we couldn't move them anymore. So it's kind of a one-shot deal, one-shot target. Anyways, so we do this in the classrooms now, and then they take these. We actually make a copy of them, and then they take these to the classroom and put them up in their classrooms. This is one. You can kind of read it. My goal is to get a basic on math and reading. This is how I will do it, by studying more and reading 30 minutes a day. So we try to get pretty specific with them as far as how are they going to do it. And this is from a little person, first grader. Keep doing my homework and reading. Very simple. And then so we do both things. We do the arrows so they have a visual when they can take that back to their classroom, but we also do this, we do this together. We look at their RIT score, the current one and their goal RIT score. We have the students, the younger ones, this is a K3 one. They actually take a highlighter or color, and they start from the 0, and they move, their highlighter to the number where they are. So the first part, the math RIT score, that's where they are, and then we talk to them about a goal. So if it's 5 more points, they take the marker and they move it on the line 5 more points, so they can see a difference. It's very visual for them. We found that's very helpful for the little people. And then down below, we have what can you do to reach these goals, and how can my parents and or teacher help me reach the goals? So we talk about that. We make copies of this, and we do give it back to every teacher so they can take a look at it and kind of see, what are the students saying about how they can help. Yes. Okay, and this is the older people one. So this is 4th through 8th grades. Looks a little different, no coloring, but you can see they put their current score, they actually look at how many points they did improve, and what's their goal for next time. And then we kind of compare it to the state testing, which will be all different next year. And I'm sure somebody will change the form to make it different. And then down below, they look at the boxes, kind of give them a prompt of some things that they could do to reach the goal, some things their parents and teachers can do to help them. And then they also have an other line down there where they come up with their own thing too. Okay, that's all for swag. But now I'm going to talk about the Lammersville School Foundation. This year we have pretty much almost 100% turnover. Well, okay, let me see, 80%. Mr. Pumpo's still there. Just kidding. We have Lacey Asami, Kristen Bly, and Laura Strickland, Helen McGann, Eric Asami, Mr. Pumpo. David Pumpo, it's hard for me to say that. Mr. Pumpo, and Sherry Burton. Those are the officers for this year. LSF works with a yearly budget of about $28,000 to $30,000. Their primary source of income is the auction dinner dance. Other fundraisers that bring in some money is the cookie dough sales, our Harvest Carnival, and we have buy-ins, which this year have been explosive. It's amazing. We had a cupcake buy-in. We had the Sunday buy-in, and seriously, I think, it was like, let me see, we have 220 students. I think 170 or something signed up for this. They paid $10 or $8 or something to make a Sunday. And so it's very, very lucrative. Here's the budget so far, and the auction dinner dance is not in here. So I did a kind of a projected last year. I think that's a little off there. That's not right. Sorry about that. Yeah, the numbers there are wrong. But last year, I think it came out to about 11,000, and this year they're projecting 9,000. Hopefully it'll be more than that. Sorry about that. Underneath there, I don't know where that came from. Sorry about that. That's not a right number. Some of the other things LSF does for us, art program they pay for. I give our teachers money. I'm not going to say all of these, but I'll highlight a few. End of the year barbecue. They do assemblies for us, science camp, field trips, picnic tables. They've done that before. Sports equipment and uniforms. The other thing that we really like is the field day at the end of the year. I think I talked about this last year too. We have a zip line, and it's absolutely awesome. And I'm hoping that happens again, but we'll see. Some of the future things that LSF talks about is more Chromebooks. That's kind of our thing now. Everybody's talking about getting more. We want the one-to-one. It is like a major goal. So we talk a little bit about that. We talk about the playground. We're looking into that as well with LSF. Our school site council is also looking into getting the Chromebooks so we can just kind of wrap it up and be one-to-one fully. So we're working on that. And LSF helps us a lot with that. So we're looking to the future. We are looking to the future with the ASB, and I have brought Anna Ripkin here. She will be in charge of ASB and has already started working with our students. So I'm going to let her speak to ASB. That would be your cue. Okay.
I'm like, my former student is the president at Mountain House High now, so I'm happy about that. I had him since 4th grade. So I've been doing ASB, I think now this is my 12th year. I took a year off doing yearbook this year at Amhersville. I wanted to come in, see what the school culture was, see what everybody wanted, and I'm so excited for what I see. This week we're doing Spirit Week for Read Across America Week, and today we did the Grinch Who Stole Christmas, and we had one class I took a picture of today, had 100% participation. So, I mean, and it's great. In my class, I'm punching cards all over the place. So we give them little awards. Currently, our ASB is run by our secretary, Heather Corman, but she's moving on, and I thought I'd get away without doing ASB this year, but I've got to finish up the year, so that's just my nature. And so then I will definitely be doing it next year. But I had the opportunity to take 10 of our girls to the leadership day at the high school. And at first they were like, are we going to be alone? Can we stay together? And then they had to sit in different campfires that they had all over the place. At the end of the day, they're like, we didn't even notice that we weren't with our friends all day. And they had a blast. They learned tons of team building games, and we plan on bringing those to the school and using them at least through the 4th through 8th grade and doing a lot of team building so that we've got that camaraderie up in the upper grades. They did a little rally last week. Was it last week? Yes, it was last week. And it was awesome. And it was really nice to see the enthusiasm from the girls who were running it and from the students that were participating in it. And of course, I've got tons of games to bring them, so I can't wait to do that. So the LUSD, we talked about that. One of the big thing was not to leave anybody out, to make sure that you're not to judge anybody, become friendship and trust and meet new people. And so that's, of course, one of our things. And I find our school is such a happy little nugget of a place that we really do care for everybody at that school. So I want to make it so we're 100% caring for everybody. So hopefully I could get rid of all that bullying stuff. So, which really isn't that much at our school. But they had a great day there. I hope that somebody hosts it next year. I know Bethany's ASB did it this year, and the high schools used it. It was kind of nice. I was at a conference last week, sitting at the lunch afterwards at the end of the week, and there goes Bethany's school up on the thing. I'm like, whoa, there's Bethany, there's Katrina Bornkamp, because they hosted an LDD day. So it was really nice to see that they got recognition in front of the whole organization for that. But yeah, so we've got some fun days planned. We've got our week this week. One, they told me that this is their random, this list that I gave them, the dreams, I gave them, what would you want to do next year? So definitely we're going to do a college day. I asked them about, what is this college day? Then they asked me, of course, more school spirit days. We could definitely do that. I know definitely next year I want to do 2 rally days, so that means 2 spirit weeks, one for volleyball, one for basketball. Let's see, they wanted to go to a field trip to the zoo. Yay. Disneyland trip, I told them to wait till high school. That's not going to happen. And they want a famous person for lunch. If LSF can raise a couple million, then maybe we could get one of those.
Aim high.
I'll bring some of those One Direction kids over and they'll have a blast. But they are so enthusiastic to have these activities at the school. And it's just amazing to see what they want. And it's amazing to see that the teachers are behind it also. So I'm really excited about working with them also. So any other slides? Oh, that's it. That's great. Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah.
No, thank you very much for, you're great at the ASP stuff.
you.
Always have been.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Oh, and I'd like to thank the LSF for funding our day. Mr. Pombo would know. Yes, they had a great time, and I learned a lot at my conference last week. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you very much.
Your excitement over what you do is absolutely contagious.
Okay, and item B is the district maintenance and operations report with enthusiasm.
Yes. I want to start with the Mountain House High School, and my speaker is on. Can you hear me okay? I got some fresh air on Friday late morning. I had received a quote from Mr. Nolan stating that he needed 114 filters for the high school. And I said, 114 filters? What are you talking about? Why do you need so many filters? So he said, well, let me show you. So here I went to the Mountain House High School roof, and you can see on the picture on the right is a unit, and on the left are the number of filters on the first layer. And behind it is another set of filters that are actually even more costly that we have not needed to order just yet. So this is one unit. I actually refused to climb the other ladder there to go to the next set. No. And I asked the question, because, Larry Silvera accompanied us, because he had to pull, you can see that little black portion there? There's these filters you have to pull out, and you have to actually manually pressure wash each of those. So I said, so how do you get that the pressure washer? And he said, if you want to show that third picture, up the same hole we climbed up. So and climbed down that same hole. I actually was more nervous climbing down that hole than coming up it. So we're going to try to see if there's some alternative storage that we can keep up there. So each month he's not having to cart something up that. So I was glad I asked the question, and I probably will never go up there again, but I thought it was important for me to realize that he did justifiably have an expense that was needed. And that was just one roof. There are these units on every roof, and the other schools have something very similar to that. So, yes, I'm sure if I get another kind of unusual request for a purchase, I'll be kind of cautious about asking, but at the same time, it was interesting.
It sounds like all they have to do is ask is tell you it's on the roof, and you'll say, oh, okay.
No, but it was actually very interesting, and I took several pictures because he hadn't finished changing all the filters, and one of the filters he was planning on changing, you can tell it was in need of changing because it was actually puckering because of the dirt that was, I'm sure, because of all the building that's going on out here.
Luckily, we don't have any wind out here.
Yeah, so no, that was pretty interesting. And then the other thing I wanted to bring up, and there's two issues that were going on at Wickland. One of them, the faucets on the buildings on the outside, 10 years old, having problems. And initially we thought we were going to have to replace the full faucet. But fortunately they found somewhere in storage replacement parts. But who knows in the future if those ever need to be repaired again, that someday those need to be replaced completely. And then we had finally received the go. They did the last treatment on February 21st on the gophers, that they were under control to move forward with the repair. And then we discovered once we moved forward with the quote that they wanted to reseed, and the extension went from 2 weeks to a month on the fields. So I wanted to get it taken care of. So on forward with that one. Do you have any questions? I did have fun in that brief moment on that roof of fresh air, but yeah.
Actually, Dr. Nicholas let you out of the building?
I don't think I told him I was
I was bragging about climbing on the roof last year because it is kind of an interesting journey up that little crevice.
I had no idea. And I said, all those boxes, he had all these boxes stacked. I said, did you bring those boxes up that same? Yeah. So I asked Wes about that today. I said, did you not think about some kind of gadget to put these boxes to carry up? Then I'm just kind of surprised.
We have an elevator in the building.
I know.
Gone up one more step?
Well, not just that. There's that, you saw that second layer. There's that other even steeper ladder. No, I just thought I thought it'd be interesting to share because I had no idea what I was in for that Friday.
This is why we have people like Mr. Nolan, so we don't have to climb up onto the
Nolan
roof.
and Silvera.
Thank you for the report. Governing board reports. Trustee Clements.
I did attend the DLAC committee meeting, but I'll reserve the comments for the committee report in, and that's pretty much all I have since the last school board meeting.
I'll go to DLAC in a moment, but I had a blast at the VAPA Boosters Bingo Night a couple of weeks ago. I didn't win anything, but he did. He always wins. But
it's rigged.
Yeah, really. No, it was a lot of fun, and it's great to see that families can come to something like this. I don't usually go on and on about fundraisers, but it's an opportunity for families to get out. They have games and stuff in the back for the little kids. Okay, it got a little noisy when it was time for the younger ones to be in bed. But it's a great opportunity for families, a great way for them to get out and do something great for the schools. So I also attended the DLAC committee, the District English Learner Advisory Committee, and our vice principals, what an impressive bunch they are. They took the parents through an overview of the district's English Learner Master Plan. This is a plan that is a work in progress. So they're asking the parents for their input and going over what's in the plan. Is there anything in there that you think needs to be changed? They gave the plan to the parents to read it in detail, come back the next meeting. There were about 4 parents there, Mr. Clements? Yeah, there were about 4 parents. So often when you go to something like that and they're taking you through a plan with all these words and they're going through and they're kind of reading stuff, not our people. They're talented. They know what's in this document, and they were giving the parents the general overview without reading stuff from the plan, which was very impressive. And the piece of data in the plan that I was rather impressed with, that many districts struggle with, is we have a very low number of long-term English learners. A lot of districts struggle with that, where they have English learners are 5, 6, 7, up to 10 years. And we're not seeing that kind of data in Lammersville. So there's great work going on. The work that's going into updating the plan, excellent. We've got good people working on this. I think that's everything. There's either something every night or nothing for 2 weeks. So,
all right, Trustee Palma.
As Trustee Lampel mentioned, I too went to the VAPA Bingo, and quite fun, and they have some tasty snacks there as well. Also, just a couple of announcements. There is a Sweetheart Dance that benefits the Mountain House Relay for Life coming up on Saturday, and that's for it's a parent-child dance. It will be at Bethany from 7 to 9. And also, Principal Sweden mentioned the Lammersville Auction Dinner Dance that is coming up March 21st. And by the way, fellow board members, I've got tickets for both if you're interested.
I can't attend, but I'll make a donation.
Thank you, sir.
I don't necessarily have anything for a governing board report, so I'll move into the committee reports. Item A is a facility use committee meeting. We have a meeting on Monday at 6:30. Item B is the district advisory committee.
I have nothing new to report other than that we have a committee meeting on Monday, March 23rd at 6:30.
Item C is the District English Language Advisory Committee. Anything further?
The next date?
Just that the next meeting is scheduled for March 25th at 6:30 p.m. in the Wickland Library.
Thank you. And item D is Gate Art Music. Is there a report on that?
I don't think we have our next meeting scheduled yet.
I don't think so either.
Okay. Item E is the Safety Committee, and our chair, Dr. Gill, has a short presentation to make.
Good evening, Governing Board, Mr. President, and Dr. Nicholas. Our Safety Response Committee, Safety and Crisis Response Committee, is very happy and enthusiastically waiting for our SRO. So they wanted to make sure they have a say in the lots of different aspects, which is what kind of person that is going to be, what kind of qualifications. They have a dream. This is like a great thing right here. So the first thing we have been talking about for a while in that committee is, first of all, before I go into that, these are the different members who sit in that committee. We have staff members, board members, parents, and we would love to have more parents, and hopefully in future students as well in this committee. So the first few questions we have been talking about in there is that we were very excited about that, even though that person will be, the SRO will be a sheriff department employee, but we will have a say in their hiring. So we were very excited. Our staff members want to be part of that panel, want to have a say. Our parents want to have a say, which is awesome. And of course, we have to pay half of the salary. We wish we didn't, but we do, which is better than full-time salary, right? Yeah. And they also want to make sure that the SRO will attend our evening eating events and meetings as needed. And we were talked about a summer schedule. What are they going to do during summertime? We still have questions about that, and we did not come to any kind of recommendations or suggestions or ideas at this point with that. We talked about it, brainstormed, but nothing really concluded to recommend. But they do have tons of traits. As you can see, it's a huge list that they came up with, from having a bachelor's degree all the way to be physically fit, to be nice to students and proactive and everything else. So it's like a perfect person. And we talked at depth about characteristics. Look at this. I mean, this is pretty amazing, right? They really want this person to be awesome. I think it's really not this person. Any and every staff member, including people like me, if we can have all these traits, that would be perfect, right? We wouldn't need anything else in our district. And then these are the duties they said, and beyond, but these are some of the duties they think that this person should be performing. Starting from being visible was one of the bigger one, even though we have that at the end, but we wanted to highlight that. They wanted that person to be active and visible, being like everywhere. And all the way to investigations, helping with the traffic, helping as needed, going to school. Home visits will be a great one. Because sometimes, once in a great while, I go to home visits by myself. And then I'm kind of praying and holding my phone in my hand. Should I even go inside or not? Not often, once in a great while I have to do that. So this will be pretty amazing to have this person that I can say, you stand at the door while I'm inside checking whatever I'm checking or something, right? So, and then we talked about this person will mainly be at the high school, but will visit the other schools every so often, but also will go to the schools, K-8 schools as needed, as soon as they make a phone call, depending on how things are working out at the high school at that time. We'll make sure we'll plan our events and our fights and everything accordingly, so that all the fights are not happening at the same time. We don't get fights, I'm just joking. So that's in a nutshell where they're very excited. They specifically asked, they said, will we have an opportunity to sit in the interview panel? And we did say yes. We said when we come to that point, we are not there yet, but when we come to that point, we will inform them and have them send a couple of representatives from the safety committee to sit in the interview panel.
Can you remediate me just a little bit and tell me what the SARB board is?
SARB is an attendance board. So let me explain to you in a nutshell. What happens is when students who are tardy or absent a lot, the way the process works is the principals that from the school send letters home after so many absence, first letter, second letter, third letter. That's how kind of the law goes. Then after the third letter, then there's supposed to be a SAR meeting hearing happening at the district office. And usually I hold those hearings, and we have had a couple of them done this year. And then it will be very nice to have the sheriff department or SRO sit in the SAR hearings and talking about why is it important for parents to send their children to school? What kind of fines and other things could be there if they don't?
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gill. I just want to add, it was a great activity that Dr. Gill coordinated for the meeting. We had a lot of administrators that were there that have had experience working with SROs, and then my experience from being an SRO really contributed to a lot of the discussion. A lot of these traits came up, so it was great activity and a lot of participation. Everyone was very engaged, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Item F is the Wellness Committee. Anything to report?
Nothing really to report. Our next meeting will be Wednesday, March 11th at 3:30 here at the district office. And also there is something that came out of the Wellness Committee is a relay recess that all the schools will be participating in this Friday from 1 to 1:30. I believe the high school is from 1:30 to 2 o'clock. Oh. And that's my report.
Thank you. And since you mentioned the 11th, I'm going to be having tomorrow on Friday, Dr. Nichols and I are going to meet and start putting together our agenda for our board workshop. So if you guys have anything or any questions or anything you'd like added, please just shoot me an email and I'll make sure that we have it prepared. And moving along, action items. Item A is, actually, items A, B, and C are all related, so I will have the staff report first, and then we'll get into them one at a time, but they all have to do with procedures in case of layoffs.
So there is no planned layoff, but in order to, if one were to come up, this is the process we have to go through. A is about a tiebreaker criteria, B is the skipping criteria, and C is the seniority lists.
So, and I know everyone always looks at me when this kind of stuff comes up to see what kind of comments is she going to have, and my comment is fabulous work. Thank you.
Before we go to a motion, I did have a comment. We're going to take these one at a time, right?
Correct.
And so A is going to be first.
Yes.
My comment before a motion on that is on the tiebreaker documentation, we give +1 for Spanish, and being new to the board, I assume that that's because of the cultural importance of Spanish, and our constituencies and the stakeholders are Spanish speakers. But in this community, they're not just Spanish speakers. And so I was wondering if it would make sense to give tie-breaking credit for culturally, like other significant the native languages of other significant populations, like, and I'm not, I don't know what those would be, but
Home languages that are identified in our database.
right, and so anyway, that was my question on this, is whether we should give credence to those languages as well.
It'd be easy to do.
Makes sense. I mean, we don't have, it's not like the Spanish population is so much different from a lot of the other populations, that we have a fairly broad spectrum of additional languages and cultures. The question is really, at this point, do we have a lot of teachers identified as having that credential or specialization in the district?
And I would say that I don't think that saying, well, we don't have any other languages identified, because we could hire, somebody could quit and we could hire them between now and then.
But this is only for this year.
Right? I get that.
Yeah. So the languages would be Hindi, Punjab, Tagalog, Chinese, and the like. And then those have variations to it. So why don't we do this? Why don't we come back and take a look at the data and the numbers, and then bring, let me correct that. We need direction and approval on this, but we could come back with a specific report on the languages in the district
and consider whether an amendment is necessary.
I have a question that might help us move along. Was the intent on D, a rating +1 for Spanish, was the intent to hold a B clad and be Spanish speaking? and BCLAD is the bilingual cross-cultural language acquisition and development. It's an add-on to the credential that anyone who has an English learner student in their class has to have. So we could actually make a motion with any BCLAD. Not necessarily just Spanish.
For that, my question is, do we have some sort of qualifying, I mean, do we have to qualify these folks with the language, just saying, oh, I speak it, but they don't speak it fluently, or
They would have the BCLAD. That's a state credential.
Okay.
That was
Yeah.
my question, and that was kind of
Yeah.
where I was going with yours.
Yeah, so we could make a motion to amend the rating holding a BCLAD credential, and that BCLAD could be, and anyone who has a BCLAD, even if it's not a language that's currently spoken in Lammersville, they should be getting extra points, because those are additional skills and an additional credential that this person worked very hard to get.
I believe that might be covered under B.
That's what I was wondering about that too. Should have additional credentials.
You know what, let me correct my language. BCLAD is not actually a credential, it's an authorization. So putting it in, thank you for pointing that out and correcting my wording. So we could.
You're still referencing D?
I'm still referencing D because B is referencing full credentials.
Okay.
And it says, oh, don't go away. Example, bilingual and special education. I don't know what that reference for bilingual is. So Dr. Gill, is B says bilingual, is that where the BCLAD goes?
Staff is saying yes.
Okay.
My credentials and experience to teach in a special category, which is bilingual special education. So BCLAD will be different, wouldn't only be Spanish. BCLAD is literally like any language. So that, I agree with you 100%, because that's how we are going to know. Because anybody can come and say, oh, I speak this language, but then BCLAD makes sure that that person actually is fluent in writing and reading and speaking. Because, for example, I had to take a BCLAD in Punjabi in order for me to be authorized and have a BCLAD in Punjabi. So that will be helpful. You don't necessarily hold a full credential in Punjabi, you just hold a BCLAD in that language.
So there's a difference between a credential in a second language and a...
That's correct. So BCLAD is not a credential. BCLAD is just an additional thing to have.
Authorization.
And because people have like supplementary authorization, which are like somebody has a biology credential, then they have a supplementary authorization in chemistry. Right, that is a supplementary credential in chemistry, but BCLAD is a requirement by the state to have, right? For us, all teachers have to have a CLAD. And if you are a bilingual person and fluent in a language, you can then have additional little piece to it. So it's not necessarily a credential. But it does make sense to me, instead of just saying Spanish, we say BCLAD. So if somebody has a BCLAD, they get an additional point.
I'm sorry, on number B or on number D?
D.
For the BCLAD?
It will be D.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the way D is written, they only get the extra point on the BCLAD if they speak Spanish. So if they spoke, if is for Spanish, the way it's currently written.
So right now, but previous past experience is, if somebody said fluent on their application, we said you are bilingual and you speak Spanish, we gave them a plus. But I'm hearing the governing board saying, instead of just doing that, do it with a proof by having BCLAD.
I think the real question is, because other staff has said that the BCLAD was recognized under B. So in prior years, we've done this before. This is not a novel concept. Have we given a plus for the BCLADs for other languages under Section B, and we just need to clarify how we're doing it? That's my question. Is, are we changing what we've done in the past? Have we been doing it in the past?
You know what? This is
Going
this
forward,
is
if we haven't, we should. I
okay.
totally agree with you.
This is the most beautiful thing being in Lammersville, because we never have to officially lay off people, and also do tie breakings officially. Right. Even though last year we had a couple of teachers where this wasn't really an issue, but then we brought those teachers back within a few days or within a few weeks. So it comes down to sometimes big districts when they are laying off 200 teachers and people are hired in this. So we actually have that in the wording, but we never had to actually apply it. That's
So
my
I think I can
understanding.
help clear
Is that
things up
correct?
if I,
Well, if you look at the next resolution, it does indicate for skipping criteria, and it does specifically say B-clad authorizations is one of the criteria to
so it should be
recognize.
on both.
So can
For
we
skipping.
apply,
Yeah.
apply to
Well, that's
this
for
one?
skipping, right.
So
And I
will
believe
make
in the
a-
past, we did indicate a bilingual authorization, such as a B-clad, was addressed in B on there.
But just to clarify, to put it in one section and clarify that, like,
So I'll move to approve Resolution 141509 as presented, with the exception of changing Section D to holding a B-clad authorization from the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing.
second?
Any further discussion?
I have a question. As that's amended, that does mean that they can have a B-clad in Spanish or Punjabi or whatever, and they get the +1.
Yes.
Okay.
B-clad is not linked to any specific language. You have it or you don't.
Right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item B is, roll call.
Matthew Balzerini.
Aye.
Colin Clements.
Aye.
Sharon Lampel.
Aye.
Shane Nielsen.
Aye.
David Pombo.
Aye.
Item B is consider approval of Governing Board Resolution 141510 to determine criteria for deviation from terminating a certificated employee in order of seniority, also known as skipping criteria. Any further discussion on this?
Move to approve Governing Board Resolution 141510 to determine criteria for deviation from terminating a certificated employee in order of seniority, skipping criteria.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Roll call.
Matthew Balzerini.
Aye.
Colin Clements.
Aye.
Sharon Lampel.
Aye.
Shane Nielsen.
Aye.
David Pombo.
Aye.
Item C is consider approval of the 2014-15 seniority list for both certificated and classified.
I move to approve the seniority list for 2014-2015 for
Aye.
both certificated and classified.
I will second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item D is consider approval of new unrepresented job description and salary, Coordinator of Instruction and Technology Integration. Staff report?
None.
Any discussion by the board?
Move to approve new unrepresented job description salary, Coordinator of Instruction and Technology Integration.
Second?
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item E is consider approval of memorandum of understanding with the San Joaquin County Office of Education for NCLB Paraprofessional Training and Assessment Program Consortium Agreement. Staff report?
It's a requirement for Title I funding. It's officially acknowledging that we send people for the certification.
Board discussion?
I would just like to comment that I'm very impressed that San Joaquin County offers this training. Many other counties only offer testing to see if they'll pass it and qualify. So this is wonderful that we can hire people who maybe couldn't pass the test, but we're going to send them for training to get their skills to where they need to be so they can pass it. And I'll move for approval of the Memorandum of Understanding for No Child Left Behind Paraprofessional Training and Assessment Program Consortium Agreement with San Joaquin County Office of Education.
Second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item F is consider approval of second reading of new and updated board policies and administrative regulations. Staff report?
I just have one piece of follow-up information I was asked to look into. There was a question about having Department of Justice and FBI reviews on the fingerprints. So we did some research. If you'll turn to page 74 in the paper packet, and I apologize, I don't know what it is on the iPad.
The page numbers are on there.
Okay. 76.
Yeah, 76.
Hold on. It takes a minute. Oops, I went too far.
Under Education Code 45-125, there are two specific areas in California where a person would go beyond a Department of Justice fingerprint clearance. And that would be that the applicant has not resided in California for at least 1 year immediately preceding the application for employment, and 2, the applicant has resided in California for more than 1 year but less than 7 years, and the DOJ has ascertained that the person was convicted of a sex offense where the victim was a minor, or a drug offense where the element of offense is either the distribution to or the use of a controlled substance by a minor. So in terms of Ed Code and classified staff, that's the recommendation. We also contacted the San Joaquin County Office of Ed about doing a DOJ and an FBI clearance for certificated staff. Their feedback is that the district should stay with the DOJ, that the California Commission of Teacher Credentialing does the FBI check, and that was their recommendation.
So I actually had a question about that. So what this is saying, and just to make sure I understood, what this is saying is if we've determined that they're a sex offender and they've been convicted, we want an FBI background check. Why?
Thank you. To prove what else? I mean, we pretty much know. I don't want you here.
This is the California Ed Code.
You know what? I didn't write the comment, and I wasn't going to say it because it's like there's no way they're getting hired no matter what the FBI background check says. So I guess I'm okay with it.
Thank you, California legislature. That's what you got to say.
We want an FBI check so we can tell you no twice.
Yeah.
That would be it.
Not just no.
We already know.
Validated, I guess.
So I'll go along with the county's recommendation. I keep bringing this up because, yes, somebody gets fingerprinted by the FBI. I mean, they go through the FBI clearance when they apply for their credential. So they have a credential. They haven't worked in X number of years because they stayed home to raise children. They're not getting re-fingerprinted and getting an FBI clearance with the Commission on Teacher Credentialing because they already have it. So that's my hesitancy, but I will go with the county's recommendation.
Any other discussion from the board? Is there a motion out there?
I move we approve the
900 pages.
Second reading and new and updated board policies and administrative regulations as listed.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item G is consider approval of furniture purchase through Campbell Keller for Mountain House High School. Staff report?
This would be the additional classes that will be subsumed by the addition of 11th and 12th graders within the high school program in the new wing.
More discussion?
Can we just clarify source of funds, just to make sure for the public's edification?
Developer fee funds, the Cordes Ranch was put in on near 205. And so the commercial developer fees that were collected we can use those towards capital facilities, which includes furniture.
Thank you very much.
I had a question before there's a motion. I had a question earlier for Dr. Nicholas, and I wanted to clarify my understanding for the record that when I read this in the board packet, it wasn't clear to me that this was something that had previously gone out to bid, and we're basically just purchasing off of a previously approved item rather than we just took, one vendor's thing. So I just wanted to clarify that this is just a continuation of something that had already been approved on a previous bid.
Correct. Yeah, next phase. We already have furniture, so this is just more.
And the company changed their name, but it's the same company. It was Keller Group before, and they now changed to Campbell Keller.
Smells of merger to me. So I'll move for approval of the furniture purchase through Campbell Keller for Mountain House High School.
Second.
I'm sorry, was that Colin? Yeah. Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item H, consider approval of Mountain House High School overnight school-sponsored trip to State Leadership Conference.
So it was a setup that those awesome students spoke to us just a little while ago.
Staff report?
I'll have Mr. Faubert just speak in general to it and wrap up the great presentation of the kids.
HOSA is the Health Occupation Students of America. It's connected to our Project Lead the Way biomedical engineering program. We had 9 students go to the recent county competition, and we were actually really surprised that 3 kids won first place in I can't remember what it was. Anyway, won third place or second place, first, second, and third place in 3 separate competitions. It's a lot like, if you know what DECA is. It's the health occupations version of DECA. They're excited to go to the state conference this year, which is in Sacramento, so it's kind of closer and not as expensive. And yeah, they're excited to go and compete there, and there's a lot of vendors that are there and professional organizations as well, where kids can make connections and start talking. HOSA helps kids also as they get into their junior and senior year to talk about doing, gosh, it's getting late, internships, thank you. Doing internships at local health organizations and things like that. So this is the state conference that they'll be attending this year.
Approximately how many students have already expressed a desire to go and especially compete?
I believe 12.
Okay, so we already have a full complement that they've said, we want to go, we want to compete.
Oh yeah, this is,
okay.
They're just waiting for the approval. This isn't like get the approval and then see who wants to go. No.
Good.
And as far as their parents are going with them, is that correct?
There are some parents going with them, yes.
What are the accommodations?
They're staying at a hotel, at the Hyatt, where the conference is.
Yeah.
The Hyatt Regency, I think, in Sacramento.
Yeah, I'm just, specifically, I'm concerned high school students going overnight trip. I'm just looking about supervision and all those kinds of things.
Yeah, do we have a parent-to-child ratio? Do you know of? I'm just curious. Or adult-to-child ratio, I should say.
Well, there's a teacher going.
Right.
And there's only 12 kids, so.
And then whatever the ratio
Three
is in our board policy,
three
right?
hotel rooms.
Plus
I
don't even know what the ratio is in our
four
Off the top
hotel
of my
rooms.
head, I don't know either.
There, the board policy says an appropriate number.
Oh.
That's the specifics of the board policy.
So it's the teacher and only the teacher and 12 kids in the hotel?
No, if parents are going, they're going on their own, because I don't believe the parents are not being used as chaperones. So it's the teacher and the students.
I'd get in trouble.
Of course, that's my thought.
Yeah.
And that's 1 to 12 just seems low to me, but that's I also don't.
I never had chaperones. No.
Neither did I.
They didn't let us go away overnight.
I was innocent.
3 hotel rooms of students that are near the teacher's room, and these are
3 rooms.
These are not
That helps a
those.
little.
These are not band students. Band, okay.
I didn't
They're
get
like
that. Could you
high
explain that?
performing biomedical. Kids are going to be kids, right?
Yes.
But it's not unusual for 12 kids. Think of a coach going with a team.
Yeah.
That's not unusual for the high school level. Now, if we're talking about younger kids, junior high kids, I might be a little more concerned. But these are high school kids who are,
Focused.
And the parents know that it's a 12 to 1 ratio. More importantly,
the parents all know that it's the teacher.
I'm sure you'll get some parents like me who.
It's being recorded.
And he moves it down. He knows because he's very short. I said, I'm sure there will be some parents like me, like my daughters used to compete in Science Olympiad, and they went to the state competition starting in 6th grade. And I'm sure we will have kids in middle school who will be going to there. You usually have to stay there overnight. And regardless if I was invited or not, I got my room next to the children's rooms, and I was there as a parent, my husband and I. So I am sure we'll have some parents who will be doing that. Typically what happens is if you say you're a chaperone, then we have to pay for that parent's room as well. And knowing our parents, and we can kind of maybe talk to some of them and saying, we would love you to go as an informal chaperone and stay in your own room.
There are already a group of parents who are going, and we were going to have them do the volunteer clearance thing, but most of the parents were like, no, we'll pay for a bus to take the kids, which I like better anyway.
I get it.
And
So they're going to be around.
Okay, understood.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that was my question was transportation, but apparently they're renting a bus to transport.
right, yeah.
I move we approve the Mountain House High School overnight school-sponsored trip to the State Leadership Conference.
I will second.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Information discussion items. Item A is state funding overview.
I'm very proud to announce Alvina Kaiser and her presentation tonight, and she's going to talk about a subject that everybody loves, taxes.
I find it comical that I was so comfortable sitting in the chair talking about maintenance, and I've been doing school finance, state funding. I don't want to age myself 20 years about, and I was very uncomfortable today having to stand on this side speaking to you. Well, the purpose obviously is to discuss the taxation that's happening out here with the homeowners and how the property taxes are collected and how it trickles down to the schools. These are a list of the taxes that the homeowners are paying, actually more than just a homeowner, just anybody in a home, sometimes paying sales tax, income tax. As you know, this is how it works. The property tax have-tos. There's a Proposition 13 mandate where it's a 1% of the assessed value. I put a sample there of the $350,000 home. It's a $3,500 under the 1% rate. The list there are the both have-to and, should be looking at my notes, choose-to taxes. And the money flows to the county treasurer. You're paying it in the December 10th and April 10th months. And the county treasurer holds on to those funds and keeps them in an escrow account. And then they give it back to the district during those months towards the end of the month. The choose-to taxes are the taxes that a homeowner chooses to pay once they decide to move into a community development, just like in Mountain House. It's a Melrose tax that's developed here, and that tax is increased 2% every July 1st. Melrose pays for the construction of elementary schools, and there are other bonds that were voted in elections within Mountain House community that pay towards the other bonds that you see on that list. There's the college, the water, and the other county assessed bonds. And that also flows the same process that the have-to taxes flow. Then there's the Prop 98 funds, which is education driven, and that's actually the process that I'm more familiar with. The Proposition 30 was voted in 2012. And there are two pieces to that. There's the 2016-17 sunset for the 0.25% sales tax, and then there's the individuals who earn more than $250,000, which sunsets in 2018-19, and that's based on individual income. And then the Prop 98, which provides 42% of the state general fund to schools, and I was always used to the state aid term. That's the income taxes that are collected and provided to the state general fund, which is now, I can fortunately say, allocated monthly to schools. There was a period of time where there were the deferrals that we were seeing, and we weren't getting them on a monthly basis. And then, of course, those funds are strictly based on the average daily attendance that we report to the state on P2. Now, this is very much my world, LCFF funding. There are three components to that, the largest components of a general fund budget, which comprises 85% towards salaries of a general fund. The property taxes, I put a little chart in there. I was trying to think of the best way to visually describe it to you. There's a capped amount based on Prop 98 of how much each school is entitled to receive. And the property taxes go into the bucket first. The Prop 30 funds, which is the Education Protection Act that we all voted 2012, go in next. And then the state fills the remaining piece of the bucket to the maximum amount. Then I just put in a note, the County Office of Education, the Treasurer report, that property tax collection amount to the state, and then the state controller remits their portion to the audit control, and then it's distributed to us. I thought it important to let you know that we could face a negative impact in the future should Prop 30 dollars not be able to be funded by the state. I was trying to shorten this spreadsheet, and I inadvertently cut off the fiscal years. It should start in 2016-17. Once the sales tax expiration occurs, if our ADA at that time is a 4,100, this is a very rough estimate, the district could potentially have a decrease in funds of 92,000. And then you can see 2 years later in 2018-19, it could jump up once the income tax expires up to 607,000 and then $1 million. And these, I used a number School Services of California had given out of the $450 of ADA. So that could down the road impact the state. I mean, I guess we'll kind of see what happens. I just thought that you should be aware of that.
And Prop 30 moonlights in 2018, right?
There's two pieces.
It steps down.
Yeah.
There's the 2016-17 and then the 2018-19. That's the first, the 2266 and the third column you see
So
there.
the potential impact of this, and which of these years, help me remember, does the district STIRS contribution go to the max?
I think it's the maybe 17, 18, 18, 19.
Was that
I'm
the
trying to
third column?
remember. Yeah, it could be.
Of course.
So, yeah.
The first time the state
Yeah.
takes away the biggest potential chunk
Yeah.
of money.
So, I mean, in my mind, I'm kind of making my own guess based on what I've seen over the last 20-something years. And how they've changed the funding formulas, that gap percentage could start changing again. The money's flowing in great right now, but it could potentially start to change depending on how the economy goes. So, I mean, something obviously we'll be watching out for the next couple years. And then reminding people, because I think a lot of times they forget that when money comes into the districts, they don't all just come into one pot. There's several different, I guess, buckets, I should say. And when the Melloroos are collected, they're not mixed in with general fund. They are strictly now, when the CFD is formed, and to pay for the construction of schools, all of the additional funds that are collected from homeowners now pay the debt. I receive 2 invoices every year from each CFD to pay those debt payments. So the homeowners that are continuing that payment, and it follows the same process as the other property taxes, goes to the treasurer. I'm getting an invoice to pay that bill, to pay back the cost of building those schools. And so those are kept in a separate fund. Let's see, I should mention, of course, the Melloroos pays for 75%, and then the state allocation board, when they have funds available, could provide the other 25% needed for a school construction project.
But the governor wants out of that business.
Yes. So that could, for a district like ours, really impact us. Right, because as you know, we're waiting on
Matching funds that are 25%.
Right. And then I wanted to review, I showed you this, that $22.6 million of our general fund is based on these property taxes, the income tax, sales tax, that voter-approved bond. It's a very large amount.
Just to clarify on this a little bit, the property tax, the $6 million, that is a portion of the ad valorem tax that everybody pays. The 1% tax goes to the county, comes right back to the school district.
Yes.
The other 16.6 million is money that is coming back from the state. Is that correct?
Property taxes and the Prop 30, you're correct. Yes, 16.6. And that comes in monthly installments. And every now and then they give a little extra, which is nice. I was surprised this month. Pleasantly surprised. Do you have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank
for
you
this.
very much.
It clears up a lot of fuzzy pieces.
I'm glad.
Appreciate the presentation. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much, Alvina. You did a very good job presenting.
Podium bite you?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, calendar, we've got all the committee meetings are listed. I'll draw your attention to the governing board workshop is on March 11th at 6:30, and the next regular governing board meeting is Wednesday, March 18th at 7 p.m. And with that, Trustee Nielsen.
I move we adjourn to closed session. I move we adjourn to closed session.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're now in closed session.